4-0 after that because, well, the deck is good. It's solid.
It is solid, and there's a really fun iteration that Joster does to the secondary portion of the deck that really changes the archetype, but it is about Machine and Terrence in this moment right now. Machine, you will see there the Rogue. You'll see that Heist Baron Togwaggle. But, you know, what's a little bit different about this Rogue than the Rogue that we just saw from Eben is that this one is a little bit more thiefy.
Yeah, he has the Thief package with Vendetta, the Hench Clan Burglars.
Blink Fox.
Blink Fox, yeah, everything
Right.
like that. So he has the opportunity to gain a lot of card advantage and also using still the Waggle Pick even without Raiding Party because Waggle Pick, 4-mana 4-2 weapon, which bounces a minion.
We saw that do a lot of work. Yeah, we did. Last time we saw a Machine on stream, we saw the Waggle Pick do quite a bit, and gonna already start out with 2 Waggle Picks in hand here. Gonna get an early coin out for a Tempo Edwin.
Just a 4-4 to apply some pressure. Like a turn 2 4-4 applies a decent amount of pressure. It can get answered by this Animal Companion if he rolls Huffer.
Does roll Huffer. This is going to be a much better start here for Terrence than we saw in that last game on stream, but still a very reactive hand.
Yeah, picking up this Blink Fox, though, is huge for Machine here because otherwise his hand was basically SI7 Agent without the combo activator, and this Blink Fox is just basically more juice here. TerrenceM, on the other hand, just playing the defensive game, removing everything from Machine and trying to stave off the pressure until later in the game where he can actually pull stuff off here. Machine, though, double Waggle Pick in hand. I guess you have to start swinging.
You gotta start swinging face. That's 4 damage a swing. It's so much, and it adds up over time.
Yeah, that's 16 damage over 4
exactly,
turns. That's half the health pool of TerrenceM, plus a little extra, plus tax, basically.
But we have seen from TerrenceM, within the lineup that he's running for his mid-range hunter, you do have lifesteal available with the 1 Vicious Scalehide that's in the deck, and then you can also buff that up with a Dire Frenzy on top of it, and that can heal you up pretty nicely here, but we see neither of those. We don't see, of course, the Vicious Scalehide. We see 1 of the Dire Frenzies, but Tracking might find something.
Tracking picks up Headhunter Hatches, Shimmerfly, and Unleash the Hound. Shimmerfly, if picked up, can be played right this moment. And it's a better tempo play here just to get something out. Headhunter Hatchet, he already has one in hand and he didn't play it. And Unleash the Hound has value, of course, versus Rogue because Rogue has a lot of lackeys.
But also has one of those already as well.
Yeah. So he goes with the Shimmerfly trying to get something else. Basically, Shimmerfly gives you a random spell that could actually spend, or could spell something good for you. Machine, on the other hand, though, just start punching face with this Waggle Pick.
I like it.
Shark. Yeah, just like, well, it's 8 damage for 4 mana. It's good.
He is very good
Second Master's Call here has a high probability of drawing the Vicious Scalehide, which would be a key card going forward for TerrenceM here. Being able to, next turn, for instance, do it along with the Dire Frenzy and heal up a bunch.
He'll have to play something, though, because he is sitting at 10 cards in hand right now.
Not hitting the...
Not the Vicious Scalehide.
That feels bad, because that's both of your Master's Calls down, and he didn't find what you were actually looking for. This, though, just sets up the weapon. He has the opportunity to just start swinging with that as well, because one of the things you can do as... a hunter player versus Rogue, because Rogue has limited access to healing. It's just you can smork them back if they smork you.
I feel like Terrence has had to miss out on quite a few of those opportunities, though. So he is playing on the back foot here. Had to use a lot more of his earlier turns instead of hitting face like we were talking about. Reacting to Machine's board, making sure it was under control before it really ran away from him. But you know, Machine's off to a good start. Really able to steal a card here. What do you take, though? You take the...
Yeah. Like, this Hench Clan Burglar getting 2 cards is also quite huge, though. He picks up the kill command for some extra reach, basically. So he has the options to go further beyond. Even going as far as just, well, I know you have a Shimmerfly in a full hand, so maybe if I'm lucky, you burn the Vicious Scalehide now. Let's see what the card is. Burn the second Shimmerfly. It's not that dangerous. It's not the best, but...
That's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. This Flare, though, is also not doing much versus our Rogue that doesn't run anything. But this...
Well, has the ability to steal some cards. The Flare, at least, is going to do some draw potential here. So in case Terrence feels like he's running low, which he just has a full hand with a lot of stuff that hasn't been able to find value yet.
This is interesting though for TerrenceM. He's now contemplating whether double links trade into this this Hench Clan Burglar to buff up the Hyena even more, or...
Well, I think you do one link, so I think you really need to clear out that Spirit of the Shark. So go ahead and sack both of... Well, no, I sack the links, good. Sack one of the hounds as well.
And then go...
And then keep one of the hounds on board, for sure.
Yeah, the option was going with the second Timberwolf and just have a cleaner...
Rush.
Yeah, but have a cleaner trade, but not buffing up the Hyena that much. And
I think I like Terrence holding on to it, only because he has... the pieces to do it again.
Yeah, and he has a Thunder Rhino, the Spring Claws. He has a lot of damage coming out in a few couple of turns due to how Thunder Rhino when charging Timberwolves works. The Vendetta coming down on this Hyena, just getting instantly killed here. Machine still sitting on 7 mana because, well, Vendetta, when you have weird cards in your opponent's cards or whatever.
You have Dreamway, and you also have Kill Command from the Hunter class, so that's going to help devalue that card a lot, make it very cheap, easy clear. But, you know, Machine's been holding on to this Heist Baron Togwaggle for a while because you haven't had a Lackey activator.
So playing out this 3-mana 3/3 was just to kill something off. He might also even set up a Waggle pick. Now he decides to go with the Dreamwave Guardian to get some lifesteal going here. These are good one to... He doesn't have any buffs, so it's not as strong as in Token Druid, but it's still a minion that needs to be dealt with here. For TerrenceM's sake, though, there is the opportunity to shuffle in a bunch of Timberwolves with Dire Frenzy, which is one way you can just OTK with like 3 Timberwolves that is 4/4, and with the Thunder Rhino just do insane amount of damage in one turn here. You can even play it along with like a Spring Paw because the Timberwolf would stick, and you can play it with Dire Frenzy just to get some damage done here. The thing that does, though, is that you can't Dire Frenzy your Vicious Scalehide, which is something you would like to do against Rogue, even though the pressure hasn't been that high, because you're still at 22 health at 8 mana.
Weighing out some options.
Yeah, weighing out a lot of options there. There's a lot of options for TerrenceM here.
We can go through some of those. So he could set up the same play that we were talking about before because he did hold on to the Timberwolf. Instead of getting that clean clear, he now has the ability to use Timberwolf. You got the Spring Paws, sack them into the Druids, and also buff up your Hyena, which looks like the play that he's going for here. And then you can also really follow things up with the Deadly Shot if you wanted to.
Yeah, it seems like that's what he wants to do. So basically saying, well, you managed to take my first Hyena, can you take the second?
Yeah, gotta remove all the threats from the board to really give your Hyena the best chance possible. But we see here that there's some good answers. Some risky answers. You know, the Waggle pick is there. You could take that 7 damage to the face if you really want to. Or you do have the Sap.
Yeah, the Sap is a clean way to remove this. The thing with Machine, though, the problem is that, yes, you have like a Heist Baron Togwaggle, and you just have a bunch of spells, and he has to play it out basically as a 5/5 now, because he has no other options. Yeah, no other options there. TerrenceM, though, picking up the second Deadly Shot if he wants, or you can just Thunder Rhino Dire Frenzy to get like a bunch of big, meaty Thunder Rhinos into the deck if he so pleases.
Well, the sad part about the deck list that Machine is running is, remember when we were talking about the other Rogue deck that is in the mix here for the WCG qualifiers, it's much more Lackey heavy. You really only have Evil Miscreant within Machine's deck. And I suppose you have Evil Cable Rat too, but that's not enough. And
then picking up this Prep as well, it just feels horrible due to the fact that, well, Prep doesn't do anything with his hand. 9 Lives is also one of the cards that you got from Blink Fox that does nothing because you have no Death Rattle minions in your deck to actually die and get something off of it. So just using the Kill Command here to clear off something. Unleash the Beast, pick up a TerrenceM, there is an option.
Flare first.
Yeah, just to get drawing a card. That's the Vicious Scalehide, though, meaning, well, you need the second Dire Frenzy to be really a big thing. But TerrenceM now taking back the board, even playing out the Scavenging Hyena here as a sacrificial pawn for this second charge of this Waggle pick. Machine, though, picking up the Blink Fox. Blink Fox is good because if you bounce it with the Waggle pick, you have an option to go get some more fuel for your...
Yeah, you Shadow Step as well, so you'll see what kind of things that you draw. Multi-Shot, that's a great
huge
pickup. That's almost exactly the answer that Machine needed in order to deal with Terrence's board.
Yeah, you can multi-shot, hit into the... Or even not hit into the... If you wanted, you can hit into the Unleash the Beast and then play the Blink Fox again. It seems like you just want to go face, though, and just kill the Hyena with a multi-shot, for instance.
I think that's okay. Machine at the moment has a pretty significant health pool lead. Will bounce the Blink Fox back, gets another...
spell, and what is it this time?
It is a beast. It is a poisonous rush spider.
Okay, not the best beast. It doesn't do enough damage, but just playing this one out there gives you the opportunity to just clear off some of the damage that's on board. It removes the danger of the Hyena. Just you can push even more damage. You can do dagger up to have it stored for later. TerrenceM on the other hand picks up the Thunder Rhino though.
Right off the top.
Yeah, and that Thunder Rhino is a big boy. Decides to go with Unleash the Beast instead as an option, because the thing with Thunder Rhino as well, if you play Thunder Rhino, you can also, because one of the ways that Rogue can just deny healing is to just, well, I just don't play my Vicious Scale Hide, no any minions, so you just die. But with Thunder Rhino, you can always charge straight face and heal for that 1 damage, if you so pleases. And then
well, you know, even though the Vilebrood Skitterer wasn't quite the best card to get off of the Blink Fox,
it is perfect in this situation.
It works in this situation.
Yeah.
It definitely
Killing
does.
off this Thunder Rhino is super important here, because you know your opponent sits on a second Unleash the Beast, meaning you know you're set up for lethal if this Thunder Rhino sticks. You're still in a bad spot though, because of well, how much stuff is on board here. You can eviscerate 1 minion and Wildbird Skitter the other minion. You still leave something up.
You actually, there's another play that I'm seeing as well. You can Vilebrood Skitterer the Vicious Scale Hide. You can bounce it back with Shadow Step, use it again, and then also eviscerate. So you get a full board clear.
Yeah, you get a full board clear, but it basically empty out your hand, and stuff like an out from like Leroy Jenkins is now gone. But it saves your life, of course, which is seems like a good option here.
Yeah, going to go for the Shadow Step Vilebrood Skitterer.
And this 9 life is just sitting in your hand taunting you, because it's basically a useless card.
Yeah,
in
what?
this situation.
You can't do anything with that. I don't think this particular Rogue set actually has
another
anything,
Unleash the Beast. So TerrenceM has a couple of turns now where we can just go Unleash the Beast into Unleash the Beast, just to always have a 5/5 on board that Machine needs to respect in some regard.
Yeah, and Machine is really running out of resources. Remember, Machine earlier on had this massive hand, but because they spent so much time focusing on Terrence's board and trying to control the state of the board, now is completely out of options, really, to deal with these wyverns that are popping up.
Yeah, and he didn't get any of his like value-generating cards like the Miscreant
Dire
or
Frenzy
anything like
2.
The Dire Frenzy represents 8 damage from this minion. You can put your opponent down to 2 health.
Yeah, you're
if
so
he
close.
pleases. And this means, well, the Rogue doesn't run any healing besides a Celiax, and the Celiax doesn't deal with this 8/8, so...
Definitely go for it here. I think that Terrence is making the right call. We're actually going to hold on to the last charge of the Headhunter's
that's
Hatchet here, but
Myra's
Myra...
Stable element. Can this change anything for Machine here? He has the option to also eviscerate beforehand to get even more cards out of the Myras, but he decides to go with a full-blown 8-card Myras here. Gets a Miscreant, a Henchclan Burglar, gets a Celiax,
Oh, the
Backstab,
lackey cards,
Life
just
Drinker.
way too late. Does at least... Yeah, you know, you at least see the Leroy Jenkins come into hand, but the Life Drinker is really the star of the show right now. Unfortunately, not enough mana to be able to Leroy, Shadow Step, Leroy, Life Drinker.
Yeah.
But you do have you do have a little bit of rush here.
Like what this Celiac sets up is basically a safer route, depending if TerrenceM has Deadly Shot or not.
You can't play around it at this point.
No,
There's
you don't-
nothing that you can really do to remove.
He can't afford to play around it, no. So he just goes with the best play he has. This sets up lethal for next turn, but TerrenceM sitting with his Deadly Shot in hand. He's been sitting there for a long time, just to get ready to kill this Celiax, and just drops it in, punch it 8 to face or whatever he wants. You can use weapon, you can use hero power, whatever.
Knowing it's really the last stand of defense that Machine was going to have in this matchup. This has got to make Terrence feel a lot better, knowing that this performance is working so much more in his favor this time than the performance that we just saw on stream between him and Eben.
Yeah, so TerrenceM really, like, both of the players had, like, well, had a decent amount of start. Machine had lacking all the miscreants. You had to play a Togwaggle for 6 mana, 5/5.
That was just so unlucky. You saw all of those lackey activators come into hand during Myra's Unstable Element, and your Heist Baron Togwaggle didn't get the value that it needed to get in this matchup, and that's just unfortunate.
Yeah, just unfortunate. And that's how the card draw could sometimes be. And TerrenceM played this perfectly, just saving on to a lot of options there. He didn't go with a hit and with a dagger, just in case something happened, like a Celiax combined with something else that he needs to kill the Celiax to get the 8 damage through. But we're up to game 2 now. TerrenceM is up 1-0. And this looks better for Machine, though, with an Evil Miscreant already in hand.
Yeah, absolutely much better start, especially because you have the Spirit of the Shark to pair with it as well. Terrence, though, is probably going to get rid of a decent chunk of what they're seeing in this very first mulligan.
Yeah, Zul'jin is a great card. Problem with Zul'jin is it's also a 10 mana card.
Yeah, late game. Haven't seen a Zul'jin played yet. Just hasn't really quite been a good opportunity to do that.
Mulligans away the Zul'jin and gets rewarded with an animal companion here, which is a huge
And the Spring Paw. This is actually a much better start. It's still not what you want to see for the first turn. You really want to see that Shimmerfly.
Yeah, just to force out a dagger hit on the Shimmerfly. The thing with like having these kind of cards for TerrenceM here, he really has like the Spring Paw with the Timberwolf really sets up so he can clear most of the things. Second Dire Frenzy isn't the best, but it gives you the opportunity to play the first one a little bit more freely. Like Dire Frenzy as Spring Paw is a completely valid thing to do. Coining out the Animal Companion here is also something that TerrenceM is considering to a high degree, because basically if you get not something else than Huffer, you're in a great position to play around Backstab. Gets the Leok as well, and this is rougher to deal with for Machine, because, well, of course you have Blink Fox, you can go Blink Fox Vendetta, but using a Backstab and Eviscerate to just deal with the Leok just feels awful. He can, of course, use Backstab plus Miscreant if he wants to generate some lackeys, but that means that the Leok will stay on board and be a threat for further turns going forward.
Yeah, Leok is going to do quite a bit here, especially if you can get the Spring Paws. Really going to be rewarded for rolling the Leok.
Yeah, being able to trade. He's considering maybe value trading here.
I don't mind that. I really don't.
The good thing about keeping this Leok at 2 health means that the dagger can't poke it down, and then you can Dire Frenzy it next turn if you so want to.
You know, still have to worry about playing around Eviscerate, though, if you want to if you value what the Leok can give you in this matchup, then you definitely want to worry about that Eviscerate being in hand. Yeah.
Plus the fact that if you play this and you just sacrifice the links, you also have a Dire Frenzy target in the Spring Paw, and 4/4 rush for 1 is pretty good actually.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you want something to hit with this Dire Frenzy. You have the mark shot for if it's any threats that comes down, but you want to hit Dire Frenzy as soon as possible to get like these beefy minions that you can combine with like a Thunder Rhino or Timberwolf or something like that. But it is a hard turn for Terrence here. He decides to go with the hero power instead of developing minions. This means that Machine can actually just trade into this Leok and play like a Spirit of the Shark, which is a bit
really safely.
Which is a bit passive. I would say like that's one of the biggest critique the Spirit of the Shark has gotten. It's because you spend a whole turn, usually early, not doing much.
Yeah, it's really just set up for the next couple of turns. I mean, look at the fact that you have all of those lackeys in hand now, but Machine really is playing around the deadly shot that Terrence carries in this lineup.
Yeah, well, he has a good turn next turn as well with like Shark into Ethereal Lackey to get 2 spells. So I think that's something on his mind. Like, well, if I play Shark now, I get super punished if something like that happens. If I play later, I always get at least some value from the Ethereal Lackey. And Seems like that's his go-to here. Ethereal Lackey is going to come down and give him some couple of options to see how we can deal with this Hunter. Cheap Shot, Wanted, and Pickpocket.
Actually, well, because he's playing a thiefy version of the deck, I don't mind Pickpocket, but I also don't mind Cheap Shot either.
Yeah, Daring Escape, Assassinate, and Raiding Party. Aren't the greatest picks. He would love to have some damage here. Would love to also have some other options to go forward. The Cheap Shot is, of course, a good addition to things. He decides to go with the Raiding Party, and the only thing that could actually pull is the second Bagel pick, which I think is a really weird pickup from him currently here.
I mean, unless he's thinking about potential bounce backs later on with the Waggle pick assurance that the Raiding Party gives you. But I can't think of anything off the top of my head right now.
Like if it was draw 2 and a weapon, it would be pretty good in this deck. But there's the Henge Clan Burglar, I guess, which is a pirate. But he will draw both of them, so you get some more fuel in hand. But it's so clunky to play Raiding Party now at 4 mana, especially when Prep has been nerfed. So it's always going to be like Prep Raiding Party is 2 mana still, and that's so clunky to play. Terrence though has the opportunity to go with Scavenger Hyena now, using the Shimmer Fly he also had from earlier. If this pulls a Deadly Shot, he's in a great spot. It's an Animal Companion though, which is also huge because it plays perfectly on curve.
Ooh, that's good.
Sets up a perfect Misha here for protection versus that Bagel Pickles also. And there's no minion, there's not a minion or like a random card generation here for Vendetta. So he needs to play the full mana cost for Vendetta if he wants it. Decides to go with the Evil Miscreant instead of trying to get more Ethereal Lackeys though, and a Witchy one as well.
Can't? You've got 10 cards without playing this one Lackey that's about to hit the Evil Miscreant, but we've seen some shenanigans already with the Witchy Lackey.
Yeah, the Witchy Lackey can upgrade your minion. You also have a Goblin Lackey in hand, giving you the opportunity to... Like this Goblin Lackey right now buffs us up to 3 damage. You have some options.
Now you've got space too.
Yeah. Fan of Knives. Academic Espionage or Assassinate.
So I like Assassinate here.
Then he goes for the hit to bounce something back, bounces back, and the Ethereal Lackey that just dies. And then he trades in, so he has a full hand here. Doesn't want to play more minions into it because it doesn't give him that much. He could have played like a Goblin Lackey, just hit for 2 with a Spirit of the Shark, just not to burn a card. But it also sets up for a better Unleash if that was to happen here. Terrence though sits on the opportunity to just unleash the beast to kill the Spirit of the Shark if he wants to. He's also starting...
There's so many options.
Yeah, he has also both his Timberwolf and the Thunder Rhino and a Lynx there, which is an 8 mana combo that does tons of damage going forward. So he has the options to really, like, in a few turns, set up a really heavy combo piece thingy. Because, well, as we said earlier, the Rogue is lacking healing. And no taunts either, because, well, you don't use the Dread Corsairs anymore.
Right. Going for the Unleash the Beast play that you just talked about. Yes, definitely need to get rid of that Spirit of the Shark, but that hurts.
That's a Life Drinker. And that's
that hurts. Ugh, you really hate to see that because that's just additional burst damage that you've already seen Machine have to rely on in order to really get the Rogue to pop off as properly as it needs to.
It's another spell here coming in. The cheap shot and the backstab. He already has a cheap shot in hand, so he has the possibility to just clear it.
Yeah.
Just using Assassinate though, with some just the chip damage going in here. Still quite a full hand though. Deadly Shot does nothing though. TerrenceM is also waiting for this combo though, because this combo will do a lot of damage.
Another Wyvern.
Oh, using the Lynx as well, just to be sure. So it doesn't work with the combo anymore, but maybe you don't need it. Like Thunder Rhino double Timberwolf is 10 damage just from hand for 7 mana, and whatever beast you have will get buffed by 2 as well. So you have the opportunity to go really, really heavy on here. There's also the opportunity to go with Dire Frenzy on one of Timberwolf, draw a couple more, and just fill your board with Timberwolves with the Thunder Rhino.
Right.
Which is how you can combo kill a warrior, for instance. Here comes the Goblin Lackey as a combo activator with Eviscerate. Also uses Raiding Party now to actually draw out the Henge Clan Burglars and stuff like that. Means that his hand is full again, though.
He's gonna have. I wonder if we're gonna see the Witchy Lackey just get played in order to make sure they don't overdraw next turn. But Blood Mage down though, so that's a great pickup off of the Witchy Lackey Evolve.
The thing with the Blood Mage Talons though is it puts you up to 10 card against it. Just defeats the purpose.
It does.
If it so happens. So TerrenceM is calculating now how much damage he can push out the next few turns here. He has like the opportunity to go like Unleash and Dire Frenzy one of the beasts and trade away, and you can overdraw your opponent. You also have then a decent size dog on the board. Also playing this Thunder Rhino double Timberwolf with the Shimmerfly. The Shimmerfly will also deal extra 3 damage. That's 13 damage for 8 mana from hand.
In this situation, you really wish that you had a Scavenging Hyena in your hand if you're Terrence. There's 2 juicy targets on board for your UTH.
Yeah,
would help
also,
a little bit.
Yeah, he's also like using the Mark Shot now. Like, yes, of course, it's better to use it on a Henge Clan or something other big, but it seems like, he wants to go with a Shimmerfly to trade in.
Yeah, definitely force the overdraw. That's smart.
I'm using Beastly Wrath there to 100% be sure that that no damage on this. The prep is burned.
That's. I think we're okay.
That's okay with prep burn, yeah.
Well, if you think about it too, a lot of the overdraw that happens with the rogue is very similar to what you would see from doing Myra's and Stable Element pulls.
Ferocious Howl is huge,
that's so
though.
good.
That's a super, super strong card.
That's
the problem
so
is that you can't play it before you do the backstab vendetta thingy, because that would be like the ultra nuts here, because that basically means you you are able to get in some extra armor, but you don't need extra armor yet. You can have it later here.
Rockbiter Weapon. Remember the days where Rockbiter Weapon was just OP.
Yeah, 1 mana. And you attached it to a Doomhammer, and you just smacked people in the face.
It made me so happy.
10 damage.
But we're not going to be able to see that here. Rockbiter is what it is today. Double Deadly Shot now, but Marked Shot here going to do
a little bit more work, yeah. The Rat Trap is a huge pickup. That's one of the really good secrets.
It works so well against the Rogue. You're almost always guaranteed to proc that 6/6 Rat.
Yeah, and suddenly that just turns the game around. Like the Rat Trap has been, like a lot of lists that are not secret oriented sometimes just includes a Rat Trap just for the Rogue and the Cycle Mage as well, because it's just so good to limit them playing a lot of cards.
Especially in the Specialist format where you can tech your deck for the secondary and tertiary against something specific. You could stick 1 Rat Trap in there, but this was just a good pickup here.
So 8 mana Ferocious Howl, or 8 card Ferocious Howl is decent.
We might even see it here. No, just going to go ahead and pass the rest of the mana float, that extra 3.
Here comes the Dire Frenzy. The first one is going to be used to get this big Spring Paw. Having these 4/4 Spring Paws in deck means that you always have some form of removal for all the rogue minions. And your goal is basically, kill as many rogue minions as possible here.
Right.
But here's the Ferocious Howl here for some card draw with the 9 cards, just to get that juicy
awesome.
armor. That's the Spirit of the Shark, the second one.
But you're worried a little bit too about playing it here because...
Yeah, the second Deadly Shot is high probability to be in hand there.
Yeah.
What you can do is play it and then punch face.
Are we going to see the rat? I think we're seeing a rat.
He hasn't tested for a rat, so...
We might see a rat. We might not see a rat.
Machine is treading carefully here.
Headhunter hatchet?
Nothing.
Dagger? No rat.
No rat. So he's playing around the rat. So he making it clear that that's the Master Skull here, instantly being played by TerrenceM to get like some of this Spring Paw back, the Vicious Scalehide and a Scavenging Hyena. Now he has the tools he needs to actually mount some sort of an offensive if he wants. He also has the healing in the Vicious Scalehide, Dire Frenzy as an option here. The problem is what he's looking for is stuff like Suljin or another Unleash the Beast to develop a bigger board. The second Animal Companion would be good. Stuff like just to get something on board, that because these are combo pieces.
I actually like, I'm trying to think about what the Dire Frenzy target could even be here for Terrence. And we already saw one Dire Frenzy used onto a Lynx, put 3 extra 4/4 Rush Lynxes into the deck. Do you, in this scenario, think about using it for the Vicious Scalehide or the Scavenging Hyena?
Oh, Vicious Scalehide every time because of Rush and Lifesteal. And
yeah, it's too good, right?
Yeah, it's way too good. The problem, though, Terrence only runs 1 Thunder Rhino in this list, and that's already dead. So a lot of this combo potential with his Timberwolves and all these small, like Spring Paws and stuff like
4/4s, yeah.
Yeah, it's not available anymore, which is super sad for him.
4/4s are still difficult to clear, though. I mean, we've seen Machine use a couple of Eviscerates. Does have another one in hand from getting pulled from some of those lackeys, but Spirit of the Shark going to go down. Got to put something on board, though, in order to try to protect it from a potential deadly shot.
The Faceless Lackey is huge, though.
But
the thing is, if you play
rat
something,
time.
yeah, the thing is, you can clear Rat now with the Cobble Lackey and Eviscerate. So you can play the Faceless Lackey first as to actually proc the Rat. And then you can play Cobalt Lackey with Eviscerate or something like that. You can even Shadow Step and play the Cobalt Lackey twice. Or you can just Shadow Step and do 8 damage to face.
That's... Ooh.
Yeah, that's the plan for him now, doing 8 damage to face.
I think you're not even worried, though, that much about the Rat, because look at all of this damage that Machine is able to put onto Terrence right now.
Yeah, this is lethal, actually. Considering that
Shadow Step again.
I didn't see the second Shadow Step there, but this basically is lethal here now. 3 Cobble Lackeys being played with Eviscerate as the backup ending there.
Oh my
Machine
gosh!
Just completely just destroyed TerrenceM there with like a Cobble Lackey pool there, which is when you get 2 lackeys, it's quite likely you get like a 50% chance-ish to get like the lackey you want there, and just perfectly just rounding it out and just I had double Shadow Step. I don't need to use it on Leroy. I can just use it to do...
Use it on lackeys when you have the Spirit
damage,
of the Shark.
Yeah.
Ends up being enough, plus the Eviscerate on top of it. This is going to tie up the series.
Yeah.
We've got a real series on our hands right now.
This is going to be rough for TerrenceM, though.
I think so.
He almost had that game in the bag. And then just this Cobble Lackey RNG, basically,
Losing,
to get it.
Yeah, so not just that, though, but we were talking about this, too, touching on just a little bit, that losing the Tundra Rhino.
Yeah.
That hurt a lot after he was trying so hard to set up those extra 4/4 Lynx plays.
Yeah, if he saved the Thunder Rhino for a couple of more turns, he would probably also... Like, he played it in the turn that he kind of needed to play it. But if he saved it for a couple more turns, he might have had lethal onto the Rogue just because of the value of charging in Timberwolf and stuff like that. This is a rough choice, though, for TerrenceM on the tracking on the turn 1.
I do like the Animal Companion. I feel like almost always when you see Animal Companion, it's hard to give that up, knowing that that is so versatile.
Yeah,
in many
Animal
situations.
Companion is like an overstated minion, but it's random. That's the thing. And it's a really good one as well. Like, all the minions are good. If you compare it to all the 3-mana minions, look at like Huffer versus Wolf Rider, it's +1/+1 stats. Misha versus the Ironfur Grizzlies, +1/+1 stats.
Best turn 2, though, that Machine could make is that Coin, Evil Miscreant, Ethereal Lackeys again in the hand, and Huffer, too, on top. These are great turns for both of these players.
Yeah, the Huffer also forces Machine to do something with it, otherwise you want to take a couple of more damage here.
Can't use Backstab either, but would, is looking for just a couple of spells here.
Second Backstab is
could use Cheap Shot if he really just was worried about clearing it right away, but looks like he cares more. He'll take the damage to the face instead.
And Deadly Poison is a good pickup
there
as well for a combo, either as a combo activator or as something else. Master's Call here for TerrenceM on turn 4. We'll be able to pick up some good minions there. Playing out the Shimmerfly, for instance, just to play it out. Gives him something to play, gives him more options with the spells going forward. There is a few rough turns going forward for Terrence here though. The second Ethereal Lackey is getting played. Oh, has an Eviscerate. That's more burst. That's 12 damage burst right now, and starts going face here with the second with the SI7, and just I have half your health basically in burst here now with like dagger up, deadly shot, eviscerate next turn into like backstab, eviscerate, just having so much damage you can just be punched face there.
This is an expensive wing blast, but I think I agree with removing the SI7 agent. The chip damage adds up.
Yeah, limiting the amount of damage you take is important.
No, especially because we've already seen how much damage that a rogue can output.
That is a waggle pick though with the deadly poison. That's going to go straight to the dome.
It absolutely is. Wouldn't have expected anything else. Even just gonna leave the Shimmerfly alone. It's not a threat. It is a 1/1.
It kills off one of your lackeys. That doesn't matter.
Yeah, but you don't care about that.
Next turn you can backstab, triple eviscerate.
Triple eviscerate.
For 12 damage, you have lethal on board unless something happens there. And TerrenceM has the answer to get away with this, which is Scale Hide.
Scale Hide, but you got to be able to draw those Scale Hides again. And a machine really doesn't care at this point of you kind of continuing to get 4 health back. And the Leroy on top. Machine does still have to play this very carefully, though, so he can't just empty his hand and expect that it's going to play out the way that he thinks it is.
Like, playing the Blink Fox now might give him an answer to this Vicious Scale Hide. He can also always just hit it with a weapon, but that's 6 damage not going to face, which is hurting a lot. And being at 4/5, it's just like perfect to dodge stuff like Vendetta and stuff like that, yeah.
Even though you really want that 6 damage going to face, I kind of wonder whether you Blink Fox. You get the Death Rattle from the Waggle Pick, and then you use the Waggle Pick that you have right now to deal with the Scale Hide.
Or just do like Machine does. This is a...
Or just Leroy into it.
Leroy
or ignore
straight
it.
face.
Just ignore it.
Just hitting with the Waggle Pick, having a Leroy backup with all of these Eviscerates. Just like, well, you can heal 4 next turn, putting up to 15. This means I have 14 damage next turn, which is almost lethal.
Almost lethal, but I mean the Scale Hide is still going to bring Terrence right out of the brink.
Oh, that's the second Vicious Scale Hide as well. It can't be played or hit anything right this moment, but
you can still put it on board to to just kind of apply the pressure.
Though, this explosive trap from TerrenceM is huge, though. This explosive trap basically means that Leroy can't hit face unless you hit with like the dagger or something first. And you don't want to dagger up now if you just want to Leroy, eviscerate for 14, put your opponent down to 1.
Oh, this is what I mean, though. But this is exactly what I meant, that, we still need to see Machine, really think critically about the next couple of moments.
Yeah. Here's the Blink Fox, though.
Yeah.
Coming down. It's a Goblin Prank, which means you're able to deal with this...
Interesting.
with this Scale Hide if he so wants to. The problem also now, though, like when he went with the Leroy play instead of the Blink Fox play, he basically was telling, well, I hope that he doesn't draw the second Vicious Scale Hide, because then the healing might get out of control. The Vendetta coming down on this Scale Hide here, along with an Eviscerate, so he has to use Eviscerate as well for just 1 measly damage. The second Eviscerate is probably going straight to the dome, though.
Just trying to get through. Dick would be able to proc the explosive trap, but second Scale Hide.
He's 1 mana away from actually doing like the completely nuts play here with Thunder Rhino, double Vicious Scale Hide, both healing him. He can of course use 1 and just heal for 4, putting him back up to 15.
I'm at the edge of my seat right now. This is actually gonna, we've said this phrase. This is like the phrase, the broadcast maybe, but coming down to the wire here, this is going to be decided, Delta, in the next maybe 2 or 3 turns here.
Yeah, and TerrenceM is looking great now with this Scale Hide in hand. He has a kill command as well. He has a Thunder Rhino to set up with like Timberwolf and.
How lucky can you get?
And he has everything he needs now. He just needs to figure out how much damage can he push the next few turns going forward here. Playing the double Scavenger Hyena.
That's greedy.
Yeah, but just Well, what should the Rogue do? Rogue has nothing, unless he got something
they
from
have
Blinkfox.
backstab.
Yeah, but
There's one backstab, so you can deal with one, but it
yeah,
does
but you're on
buff up
11
the other.
health. You're
Yeah.
on 11 health. You have nothing to do. Besides, like, if
Oh my gosh.
the Rogue has actually picked up something from this this Blinkfox.
I don't think so. I think that
This looks over.
this looks over.
TerrenceM here doing the backstab first. Maybe the miscreants can of course pull lackeys you need to actually remove a lot of this board.
This matchup matters a lot for both of these players. As a reminder, they are both sitting at 3-2 right now. 3 or more losses really kind of keeps you out of the running for those top 3
Flarks,
spots.
Suka, and you don't have enough mana for it.
No.
That would be actually an option to actually clear a lot of this board.
It really would, but the only thing that you can really do right now is to maybe Goblin Prank.
A Goblin Prank or
Eviscerate.
even Eviscerate clears some of it as well. Thing is, like, TerrenceM has so much damage in hand. I don't see a way out for Machine here.
Well, it's going to be the Goblin Prank. Goblin Prank's going to have to clear something. It's going to be the Vicious Scalehide first. Does buff the Hyena here.
But using the third Eviscerate here to clear this off. This means there's 2 damage on board. There's enough damage from the Thunder Rhino, the Timberwolf, and the Vicious Scalehide. This should be lethal in every possible way. And TerrenceM is taking an unfavorable matchup going forward here.
Yeah, the Timberwolf on top of it. That's game.
That's game, yeah. TerrenceM perfectly navigating around all the Rogue things. Like, my Machine had a really aggressive plan with that Leroy play, but got punished with this Vicious Scalehide and just barely saving out in the end.
Barely eking it out, but Terrence does get the job done. That is going to conclude our round 6 of our round robin here.
So one more round left to see who is actually qualifying for China. We will follow Terrence for the last game as well and see if he can actually manage to get the 5th.